What's up YouTube, Webberz05 here, coming at you today with my top 10 pendulum techs. So I decided to go with this list because I was talking to my good friend Darkritish84 about some of our favourite things throughout the game. And also, one of the things I realised I liked about the game was, over my years of playing it, one of my favourite things is just cards that we tech. Because frankly guys, I think tech cards are what make our decks more personal, and just those things that make games a bit more memorable. Also certain championships as well. Like, guys, who remembers Nats, or it might have been Euros, a few years ago, where somebody won it because they were teching Neospatian Aquadolphin as a way to rip hand traps out of the opponent's hand? That was just mad, and that's just become completely memorable, and then everyone started doing it. That's part of the reason that's part of the reason I like techs. You do something really weird, and people are just like, oh my god, that card actually has really good use now. I'm gonna start doing this. So yeah, got into doing techs. And so got talking with Darkritish, and I'm just like, you know, I really wonder what kind of techs I really liked back in the day. So I just started thinking about it. So here they are, guys, my top 10 pendulum techs. Okay, so starting off at number 10, this one's kind of a classic one. My top 10, my 10th tech favorite is Mist Valley Apex Avian. Apex Avian back in the day was absolutely busted as an additional negate. The reason I put him so low on this list was because of the natural downside of playing triple Apex Avian, because he was also an absolute brick. Like guys, this is part of the reason I'm not playing Apex Avian now. I have bricked more times with this than I have with negating stuff. Like, if I summon him and get off his negates, it's great. But he bricks a little bit more than he negates. I mean, he's a bit better now because of the combo that people are doing with Union Carrier and the Smorg Link. I'm not actually using that on the reason that I don't have the Smorg Link or Union Carrier. I don't really feel like you're doing that because, frankly, it's just a very degenerate negating loop. So, don't really like it. But yeah, it's something I could think about if I wanted to, if I want to be that guy, but right now, I don't want to be that guy. So yeah, that's why I gave Apex Avian the number 10 slot. Okay, my number 9 slot, I don't actually have the card to reference it, but one of the techs I've played in the past that I quite liked was the tech of doing Supreme King Gate Infinity in tandem with Zero back in the day, as a way to search a fusion card, which for my pick would have been Super Poly. I remember teching this out during a, I think it was a qualifier event my locals had at one point. So I threw that in, gave me a bit of an advantage. I ended up not doing that well at the event. I ended up dropping out because of time. I had to leave and be somewhere. But it was interesting. It was a nice way to just search out Super Poly, and then it leaves an impending threat on your opponent of being like, oh crap, he's got a method of disrupting me that I can't respond to. Yes, it's kind of weird with one of those techs that you like, if it's searchable, it puts your opponent in that weird position. Like, some of the best things about techs is when your opponent doesn't see them coming, but if it's for a tech that's so powerful that they can't really do much about, it does give them that nice impending threat, which is part of the reason I really liked it, and that's why I gave it the number 9 slot. Okay, going into the number 8 slot, I've gone with one of my old side deck cards. That's Jalgan Spiritualist. So I've given him the number 8 slot because he was more of a side deck option than a main deck option, but he was absolutely great back in the days when we still had it. When Electromite, oh no wait, not Electromite, Astrograph, when Astrograph first came. Like, I would throw 3 copies of this in the side deck, I would throw 3 copies of this into my main deck and side 3 cards out. Typically, if I could hit into Jalgan, which I was pretty good at doing back then, because I don't remember how I did it. I think it was just because I had really decent draw power. And then I found, oh no, did I have Electromite? I may have done, I don't remember. I think Electromite was part of the combo though. Because it was pretty fun back in the day. Because I could be like, set up, I could do my small setup. I wouldn't really do a big setup turn 1. I could just be like, Pendulum summon a couple of monsters, drop Jalgan at the same time, sit from there. Because the format back then was so special summon heavy, my opponent wouldn't be able to just special summon over me. And the other fun part I had about it, guys, was just the ability to loop Jalgan. Because it's like, my opponent pops Jalgun while I've got Astrograph in hand. I'm like, cool, Jalgun's gone. I'm just gonna special summon effective Astrograph, summon himself, and I'm just gonna grab another copy of Jalgun for next turn. That was also a nice little niche thing of stuff I could do with I think that was part of the niche stuff I could do with Electromite. So it was like Electromite effect, pop something which was normally Jalgun, so add back Astrograph. Then probably pop my nice skills because I still had the ability to do that because of things like Black Fang, double Black Fang. So it's like Black Fang, pop something, effective Astrograph, special summon, get a draw of Electromite, and then such another copy of Jalgun. It was so much fun back in the day. Jalgun back in the day was so good. I would happily go back to playing Jalgun now, but now he's just a little bit meh. Okay, my next in my techs for number 7 would be Fairy Tale Luna. So I take this a little bit back in Pendulum Magicians in my, which one was it? May 2018 format, a couple of years ago. I just threw this in as a way of just like, I just had some free space in my main deck because I think that was a list where we lost one of our big cards. I don't remember which one it was. So I'll just be like, okay, I've got some space to fill in here. You know what, I'm going to try out Luna for a bit, because she's not so bad. She's a decent normal summon. She adds another copy of her. She can add any spellcaster with 1850 stats, so another copy of herself. And then she's just got the nice niche effect of Magic Spectre Unicorn Kieran of bouncing an opponent's monster and herself, with the exception it can be negated by your opponent sending another copy of that monster to the graveyard, but it's a way to mill out your opponent's resources, and if they don't respond, you just bounce it back, then you pendulum summon it so you can do it again. So yeah, Luna was really fun back in the day, and that's why I gave her the number 7 slot. Okay, going to the number 6 slot. My favourite, another tech I really liked well, this isn't so much of a tech, this is more like an engine I splashed in at one point. That's Invoked. So for those who've seen my channel for a while, you might remember a few years ago, my locals had a World Celebration event, and I decided to go into it playing a variant of Pendulum Magicians with Invoked, because since the Celebration event uses the World Championship ban list, and so much of Pendulum was limited or banned in the OCG, I had so many free spots in my deck. So I thought, how much space do I have free? This is quite a bit. Ooh, I've got just about enough space to put in a small Invoked engine. So I tested it out, and it was actually really fun, and it did me a pretty good job. I didn't win, but I did top out at about 5th place. Barely missed top cut because of tiebreakers, which was really annoying. But still, it was a lot of fun to do, and I would happily do. And I could happily do that again, but for the moment I'm currently enjoying Invoked in combination with my Plunder Patrol. If anybody would like to see that profile, because I don't think I've uploaded that yet, do let me know. Okay, going into the number 5 slots, one of my favourite techs I've played was Celestial Observatory. So this is a spell that lets you draw 2 cards by putting a level 6 monster from your hand or field to the bottom of your deck. I played this back in the day when it first came out in Cybernetic Horizon in Pendulum Magicians, because I thought this seems a bit underrated as a draw card, and I tried to think of decks that could use it. Pretty much a couple of things most people could come up with was Hazy Flame, because they're one of the few decks that have level 6s. Dark Magician I know now plays this in his Summon Skull since they got new support, because Summon Skull is basically entirely level 6 monsters. But I liked it for Pendulum Magicians because it's like, you know what, this isn't so bad. Because most of the level 6s I play, I typically want in my deck. Because back then, level 6s I had that I wanted in the deck were things like Jackal King, because I can just search him off, because I want to search him off Cerberus. Oath Dragon, because I just floated him off Wisdom Eye. And then Chronograph, because you play 3 copies of him. If you've got an extra one, you might as well put him back in his deck and get some more cards out of it. So yeah, this was really fun back in the day, and I have to say Celestial Observatory still probably remains one of my favourite spells in terms of artwork as well, because this is just very beautiful. Very underrated secret rare as well. So yeah, decided to give this the number 5 slot. Okay, for my number 4 slot, I've gone with Triple Burst Dragon. This is some might consider this kind of less of a tech because this was quite popularly played during Guard Dragon format, but I started playing this around during the point after, I think it was when Electromite got hit to 1, and I tried to think of ways to replace it. I also remember Sky Striker was big at the time, so I'm like, you know, Triple Bars could actually be pretty useful, because it's a way I can both bring back the Electromite, and as I said, Sky Striker was big at the time. This card was so good against Sky Striker back in the day, because it's just like, you attack into their Sky Striker Link, they try to do Ray in the Grave, and you can just negate it with Triple Bust. You just negate it with the Triple Bust, so they can't bring it back. The piercing damage was pretty nice. The piercing damage was pretty nice as well. And then, if you keep it around for the next turn, you tribute it off, brought back the Electromite to get Electromite's effect off again, and then if you had a dragon in your hand as well, you can summon that, which sets you up for a Link 4 like Borrelsword. So yeah, Triple Bust was so good back in the day. Still probably pretty good now, but I'm not really playing it. But yeah, definitely was a very good card. Loved it back then, love it now. So yeah, gave it the number 4 slot. Okay, my number 3 slot. This one's kind of not so much a specific card or engine, but it's not really designated around a specific card. It's kind of like what I did with it. I gave the number 3 slot to the Guard Dragon package. Not so much the Guard Dragons themselves, because that just basically became the main part of the deck strategy for a while. I'm thinking more in terms of some of the cards I chose to summon with Argopane. Because originally, yes, the idea was just use it for like summon a crit. Most people would use it in a standard deck of just like summon Archfiend Abyss or summon Crystal Wing as a generic negate. Pendulum players would pretty much use it to summon Vortex for free. But I thought, yeah, that's alright, but I want to do something more interesting with it, so I tested around with it, came up with some pretty decent options. I think some of those probably included some of my more favourite ones were when it first came out, King Dragoon, because Sky Strike was still big back then. King Dragoon just said you don't get an after. King Dragoon was a good way of me saying, yeah, you can't do afterburners, you can't do Widow Anchor. What do you got? Not a lot. Then other ones I had, Dragoonist Unite Trident. I tried this out as a way to just scope through my opponent, as a way of going first, scope through my opponent's extra deck to see what they're playing so I can adjust my strategy accordingly. And also, if they're severely reliant on a specific extra deck monster, rip all of it out and just basically win the game from there. I tried that against Sky Striker by ripping out Kagari. And the player basically, he opened double engage, he still had the Hayate, and then he just killed me off. And probably another good one I've done with Argopane was Majestic Star Dragon, because I recall back then I was main decking Onai's Persona Dragon, who has the effect to negate an extra deck monster until the end of the turn. So the idea was, if I have access to the Persona Dragon outside of doing the Guard Dragon package, I could be like, cool, Pendulum summon out Persona Dragon, other stuff, go into my combo, Argopane effect, special summon Majestic Star Dragon, and I wasn't sure if I don't think we had, what was it called, Heraldic Spheres then. We might have done, but I don't think we did when I was playing it. So basically, and then at the end of the turn, Majestic Star Dragon's effect returns itself to the extra deck, so when that effect activates, I just go, okay, change the effect of Persona, negate the effect of my Majestic Star Dragon so it stays on the field, then I've got its effect for my opponent's turn. For those who don't know what Majestic Star Dragon does, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can tribute it off, negate the effect, and then destroy every card in your opponent's field. So that was just a nice little impending thing on my opponent's turn, and because of Onai's Persona Dragon, if my opponent doesn't do anything, if it just stays around, just let me keep it on the field, which was very much fun. But then naturally, the fun didn't last because a few months later Argopane got banned, but I still managed to continue doing some fun Guard Dragon things, like when I went into my variant with Rockets, if some of you might remember. So when Rockets came out as a thing, I still had, Destrudo. I tried the Rocket Engine just to be like, cool, do the effect of LP, special summon Destrudo. If I had a level 3 Dragon on board, which I did, having things like Auto Rocket, I was also teching Dragon Call and Magician to turn some of my other monsters into dragons. And then one of the favourite techs I did with the Guard Dragon combo was Trident Dragian, which on summon lets me pop up to 2 cards I control to give it an extra attack. So then I just pop off my dragons, get 2 extra attacks, and it was just a nice way to OTK. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with Guard Dragon, so that's why I gave them the number 3 slot as one of my favourite techs. Okay, at the number 2 slot, which probably would have been my number 1 slot if I was still playing it, but I'm not. But one of the favourite techs I've done throughout the game is the tech combo of Perform Power Oddish Dissolver and Performer Power Gatling Gun. These guys were so good back in proper Pendulum Edition format when we were full powered, had Joker, Double Iris, Astaroth, everything. Because I was like, normal summon Joker, effective Joker, I could search this. I was also able to search it with Electromite, which is what I would usually do, but Joker was the better option. So, go to my battle phase, attack with a Pendulum into a monster, dissolve his effect to special summon himself, do some damage, main phase 2, effective dissolve to do a fusion summon with himself and another monster, usually Joker, fusion off, make Gatling Gun effect, burn my opponent for 200 for each card in the field, then I can pop a monster if they've got one. That was usually just my fun way of ending the game. So yeah, I've had so much fun in combo with these guys. Dissolver actually also had the ability to fusion summon out Vortex, which was really fun. I had such good times with these cards back in the day. I would play them now, but frankly, because I'm playing the Endymion variant, I don't really have as many level 5 or higher Darks outside of Endymion and Jackal King, who frankly I'd rather keep on the field for themselves. And so yeah, and yes, I could do it to summon Vortex, but I feel I've got enough disruptions as it is without the Vortex, so I'm not too fussed, because Selene just adds a lot of flexibility into the deck. But yeah, these guys were absolutely great in the day. I could arguably agree that Dissolve was one of my favourite Pendulum monsters in the game. So yeah, I could think about playing him again, but we shall see. Okay, and guys, before we get into the number 1 slot, I want to do some honorary mentions. So first 3 honorary mentions. First one, Magic Unicorn Kirin. This one's honorary because I wouldn't exactly consider this a tech, because it basically just became part of the deck when it came out. So naturally, more kind of deck related as opposed to tech related. Second one would be Magician's Souls. Again, kind of like Kirin, became part of the deck, so not really tech. And then my third one, which is my third honorary mention, which is a kind of more me tech. I had a format of teching Mystical Ref Panel. This was back in 2016, around the time when Blue Eyes, Dark Lords were dominating the format at my locals. This was also after the point of the Dark Illusion when Part of Desires came out. So popular decks at my locals were, as I said, Blue Eyes and Dark Lords, which have lots of draw power. I'm just like, you know what? Then I saw Simo's video of like part of his math thing on Part of Desires, and he said, yeah, you just do this until your opponent hits you with Mystical Ref Power. And I'm just like, wait, what? Read this thing through, read the effects of what it can stop. I'm like, wow, I could just steal their draw. That's fun. So I take this out for a little bit. It's one of those, it was kind of inconsistent, because if you hit this and your opponent doesn't play something that it can work against, it's just a dead card. But it was a nice fun side option against Dark Lords and Blue Eyes. I remember using this. I remember I actually was able to resolve this twice against a Dark Lord player. I went first, I thought my hand was a bit scruff, which kind of was. Set the double ref out, I'm just like, pass. Like, okay, draw. Trade in, discard this level 8 to draw 2. I'm like, cool. Ref panel, steal your draw. I'm like, okay, I'll try again. Trade in, discard 1, draw 2. I'm like, ref panel, steal your draw. Like guys, if you ref panel an opponent, it's just so much fun. Naturally, I just gave it an honorary mention because, as fun as it was, it's extremely difficult to use, and it's just one of those cards that could go in and out of formats, because there was a point where everyone was playing Pot of Desires. There have been times everyone was playing like Pot of Extravagance, but now we're kind of in the position that some people are playing this, some people are playing this. There's just not enough cards in the game now that Rep Panel is good against, so that's why I just gave it an honorary mention. And so guys, that brings us to my number 1 Pendulum tech, which would be the card I'm teching at the moment in my build, and that has to be Gravekeeper's Shaman. since I discovered this card going through some random cards at my locals while I was looking for spellcasters for Magician's Souls in tandem with what I can do with Selene to see what could be really good against competitive decks. I stumbled across this, read through its effect, and I'm like, negate monster effects in the grave. Oh, that's not bad. Well, I'm Pendulum, so I don't really use monster effects in my grave. That's not bad at all. Then I read the secondary effect of it as well. Necro Valley's on the field. My opponent cannot activate field spells. Also, they cannot destroy field spells. Again, don't really use my grave. This is going to be so much fun. And pretty much ever since I've been teching Gravekeeper's Shaman, I found if I drop Shaman, I win about 90% of my games. If I can drop Shaman and play Necro Valley, because I am main decking it, I win about 99% of my games. Discovery of this has just made it so much better. My only issue with Shaman is her stats. They're only 15, but if you've got Necro Valley, then it pops to 2k, which is still kind of average, but you've usually got enough disruption there to work around it. So yeah, so my recommendations, if anyone wants a way to stop grave decks consistently in the meta to add into their Endymion decks, Gravekeeper's Shaman in tandem with Magician's Souls. So good. Okay guys, so that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Also, down in the comments, do let me know what are some of your favourite techs that you've played throughout Pendulum in years. Thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Webberz05, and if you're already subscribed, feel free to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload.